If you're considering a move to Victoria, one of the most impactful things that you can do is planning a trip here where you get purposeful about your itinerary and plan things that are going to help you explore the city, the greater area, and learn a little bit more about what makes it great living here. The problem is you don't live here yet. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through a 3-day, a 7-day, and a 10-day itinerary if you're planning to visit the island and figure out if this might work for you. I'm Sean P, and I'm a real estate agent living in Victoria. On this channel, I make YouTube videos about how to navigate our market, and I hope this helps you. If you see value in this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have plans that you'd like to discuss with me surrounding real estate, you can use the link in the description to get in touch with me. Also, as a bonus for this episode, I'm making a handbook with these itineraries, and there will be a link in the description which you can use to download them. Before we get into the itineraries, I think it's important to note that there's kind of two main categories of people who move to Victoria. The first one being people who visit here and fall in love with it. Now, sometimes they go home, pack up their bags, or it might be years in between, but even if you're that person, it makes sense to come back and purposely visit the city, because you might have seen it when you were on a vacation in honeymoon mode or something like that, and you want to make sure that it feels right long term. The other group of people are people who move here sight unseen. They might have seen pictures, they might have heard about it from friends, they might be looking for a fresh start, and looking at their options throughout Canada, this was something that really just stood out to them. This sounds crazy, but the reality is this happens a lot, and often it's someone who gets dragged out by a friend or a loved one. And this is actually something I can tell you with personal experience, because we moved out here during COVID and my wife had never visited Victoria before we took the leap. So it happens more than you might think. What I'm doing in this video is I'm creating a guide that's designed to help you get a feel for the city, take some little day trips around town, and if you have time for it and you're here for a longer chunk of time, then I'm going to recommend some longer trips to explore other parts of the island as well. It's also important that you take some time to visit the potential neighborhoods you might consider living in. I'm going to give you a good general overview of some of the most popular areas, but if you're planning a trip and you'd like to talk about how to narrow the search down to areas that are more specific to you, you should reach out to me, because different areas have very different price points, and I'd hate for you to fall in love with something that might be a little bit inaccessible, because there are some areas that are quite expensive in and around the Victoria area. Okay. I don't want to go on too long. You can tell I'm excited about this, so let's jump in. All right, so for the 3-day itinerary, the number one most important thing that you do is visit the city. There are amazing things in and around the island that people fall in love with the idea of Victoria for, but the reality is the city is going to be the heartbeat of your life here. So you need to get comfortable with it. And in doing that, really, I think that you should just stick around the downtown core for an entire day. There is so much to do. Trust me, you won't feel like you're stretching it. So first off, I think should be the harbor. The harbor is absolutely beautiful any time of day. It's always a hub of activity, and it's the center, it's the heart of our city. We've got the Parliament building right there, which is absolutely stunning. You can go in for a tour if you have time and you feel like that kind of thing. And right across from it is the Empress, which is, it's an icon landmark for Victoria. If you were to paint a postcard, those would be the two buildings you'd choose between. While you're there, you should go into the Empress. It's beautiful, and they have a really magnificent cocktail bar. They've got a beautiful seating area overlooking the harbor where you can have lunch. And they are world renowned for their tea service. So if you're there at the right time of day and you feel like some tea and pastries, that is an experience that's like none other. Now, before you leave the harbor, I highly recommend that you walk down to the actual wharf in the harbor and just be right down there next to all the boats. The next thing I'm going to recommend while you're in the downtown core is to take a pickle boat ride. We have these little water taxis in Victoria that are absolutely adorable, and they'll take you back and forth across the harbor. You can either pop across the harbor to go to a restaurant for lunch, or if you want, you can book a tour with them and they'll take you on a full tour for 40 to 50 minutes and show you around the harbor and explain things to you. It's an amazing way to pass a little bit of time, and it just will connect you with a sense of the level of activity our harbor always has, which is so fun. The next thing I'm going to put on the list is Cook Street Village and Beacon Hill Park. These are right next to downtown, and it'll just extend your idea of what life downtown actually looks like. Cook Street Village is this beautiful little pedestrian area, and Beacon Hill Park is, for how close it is to downtown, it's really big and there's a lot to it. Make sure that you stop by the petting zoo, and there's a duck pond. You could easily spend a few hours doing that on its own. Okay, so for day 2, what we're gonna do is we're going to just expand the area that you explored a little bit. I'm gonna recommend that you do a little bit of walking through some of the neighborhoods that are very close to downtown. On day 1, I recommended Cook Street Village, which is right between James Bay and Fairfield. And both of those areas are well worth taking a quick walk, or at least driving back and forth through some streets to explore. They are very different neighborhoods. James Bay is older and more historical, a little more windy, and Cook Street Village is a little bit newer. I'm talking 1930s, 1950s, that kind of thing. But both of them have a ton of charm and connected to the waterfront. Now, the next thing I'm gonna recommend is you take a walk along the south shore of Victoria itself, and that's gonna be heading from James Bay into Fairfield itself. You're gonna start at Ogden Point. This is the breakwater, and this is a great walk on its own. You've gotta go out on the pier. It's huge, and it'll really give you a sense of the greater area outside of the harbor. But then I'm gonna recommend that you walk along the shoreline up to Clover Point. This is an amazing walk. A portion of it is a dog park, so you'll get to see all kinds of people out walking their dogs, and it'll give you a real sense of the waterfront and the community that grows around it. Once you're done that, get back in your car and continue along that same direction, and you'll get to experience the waterfront, the sightseeing area that carries along the east side of the downtown core itself and up into Scenic. This should take you all the way to Cadborough Bay. Don't stress if you get lost, because you'll get back on track if you just keep turning right till you hit the water, okay? Once you get there, take a little break, explore a little bit, enjoy Cadborough Bay for itself, and you're gonna finish your day, because this will take a little bit of time, you're gonna finish your day by heading north to Bouchard Gardens. Bouchard Gardens is by far our #1 tourist attraction on the island. It has an insane number of visitors, and with good reason. I'm not gonna try to describe it. I have other videos you can check out on it, and honestly, it's really something else, but you have to see it. It's absolutely incredible. Here's the thing, it is a tourist attraction, undoubtedly. But many residents of Victoria, including me and my family, hold seasons passes because it's a place that you can go back to again and again just to enjoy the walk and see what they have throughout the different seasons of the year. It's an incredible landmark, and it's absolutely a must-see during your visit. All right, we're on day 3, which is the last day of our 3-day itinerary. And I'm gonna run you ragged because you know what? If you're only here for 3 days, you should fit in as much as you possibly can. I wanna make sure you visit some neighborhoods and get a feel for some of the other areas that you can live in. So I'm gonna recommend that you actually head out to the West Shore to start your day. You should go explore some of the areas that people always ask about in Langford and Colwood. And I'm gonna start with Royal Bay. Actually, recently, they've changed the name of this area to the Beachlands. And this is an incredible neighborhood. It's absolutely beautiful. Drive through some of the streets. It's really well planned and thought out, and it's growing over the next 10 years. So there's all kinds of new homes you can get in this area that are built to a really nice standard. The next thing I'm gonna recommend is that you take the next hour and drive through downtown Langford a little bit and just get a feel for what the West Shore feels like. This is where most of our big box stores are on the island, so if convenience and shopping is important to you, maybe go just get an idea of what that looks like. But before you leave, go up Bear Mountain. You can do this really quickly, but I'm gonna recommend that you take an hour and you take some of the side roads on and off. There's only one way in and another way out, so you really can't get lost on the mountain. And it's one of the areas people always ask about, so you should check it out while you're here. Now, that'll take the first part of your day, and you're probably hungry for lunch. So I'm gonna recommend that you go to Oak Bay's Village and go grab something to eat. There's all kinds of great restaurants, and it's well worth a walk. So take some time after you finish lunch just to go up and down the strip and check out some of the shops. Now, you're gonna finish up right around the corner from Willows Beach, which is one of the most active and nicest beaches on the island. So why don't you finish your day there? It's always got something going on, and if it's on the quiet side, you'll get to enjoy the waterfront even more, so you basically can't miss. This has been a busy 3 days. But what would you do if you had a little more time? Let's jump into the 5 to 7 day itinerary. Moving on, day 4, I think it would be smart to have an easy day. I've kept you pretty busy till now, so I'm thinking a road trip would be a really nice way for you to start to explore a little further from downtown. Today, we're gonna send you up the west coast of the island. Basically what you wanna do is you wanna put Souk in your GPS, and Souk is about an hour drive. It's a cute little town up along the west coast. It's still very sheltered because we have the Olympic Mountains just across from it, so it's a very quiet and safe place to be in terms of the weather. And I recommend stopping and just grabbing some supplies because it gets a little bit more remote after Souk. Before you leave that area though, go visit the Whiffen Spit. The Whiffen Spit is absolutely beautiful and it's a great place to have lunch. So grab some snacks and just go for a walk out on the spit. Look around a little bit. I promise you'll see some wildlife and just get an idea of kind of what it feels like here. It's definitely a slower pace of life from the already kind of relaxed way that people live in Victoria. And if you're into that, it might be really well worth considering as an area that you could live as well. So if you're feeling it, maybe hang out a little bit more and just get a feel for the area while you're there. I'm gonna recommend though that in the afternoon you push on and you continue north because there is a series of incredible beaches you can explore starting with French Beach. French Beach is a great little picnic spot, and if you want and the time of year allows for it, you can even have fires because they have fire pits and picnic circles and stuff like that that you can enjoy. There's a playground for kids and the waterfront is spectacular. Please, if you're visiting in the summer, check for fire bans. There are serious penalties for people who break them because we experience a lot of wildfires on the island, so be smart about it. But this is a great way to spend an afternoon, and if you do this, I promise you'll head back home feeling satisfied and probably tired from another busy day. But I've got more for you planned on day 5, so let's keep going. Okay, we had our fun and now we're back to work on day 5. We want to get back to looking at some neighborhoods. So I think you should plan a day of just driving through neighborhoods and talking about where you think you'd like to live. I think you should start out in Sydney. It'd be nice because you can head north of the city for about 25-30 minutes, and it's a really cute place to grab a coffee in the morning and just get a feel for what this little city has to offer. Now, Sydney is not a big municipality. It's got less than 15,000 people, but it really packs a punch in terms of what the community puts together. So walk around, maybe grab a coffee and just get a feel for what it looks like. There's all kinds of areas that are close to the water because it stretches along the boundaries of the water. And I just think it's such a cute and lovely place to start your day. From there though, we're gonna head south and I'm gonna recommend that you check out a few other waterfront communities on your way back towards downtown. Starting in Cordova Bay. This is a beautiful area, a little bit more quiet in terms of lifestyle, but there's definitely some areas that you can still walk to grab your things or, get a coffee or go to a restaurant. It's built up a hill, so there's lots of terrace properties with amazing water views, and I think it should be on everyone's list to consider. Heading south from there, stop in at the Broadmead area. This is a really, really prestigious and well-organized community, and it has some of the most beautiful streets in the greater Victoria area. After that, you're gonna head east and check out Cadborough Bay. Now, this is a hub of activity, so it's gonna feel like a little bit more of a pulse compared to the last 2 that you just checked out. But it's absolutely stunning and there's all kinds of stuff that you can do. And one of my favorite things is that it's a suburban area that still has a lot of stuff that you can do on foot. So definitely check that out. You're gonna wrap your day up by heading to Esquimalt. Now, Esquimalt is an interesting area on its own, and you can go watch my video on Esquimalt if you'd like more information on it, because it's very unique to the areas in Victoria. But I'm gonna recommend that you explore Esquimalt and then maybe even do a quick drive-by of the Gorge area, which is just north of there. Both are amazing places to live, and in my opinion, some of the best value in the long run for where you could put your money in Victoria. Okay, this is the last day of our mid-range itinerary, day 6, and we're gonna have some fun today. I'm gonna start by sending you out to check out one of the Corps' favorite swim spots, Thetis Lake. It is absolutely always a place where you can find some activity. There's a hike that you can do in about an hour around the lake, which would be a great way to spend some time in the morning. And if the weather permits, you should jump in and go for a swim. Heading back from Thetis Lake, I think you should check out Banfield Park. This is back in the Esquimalt area that you checked out previously, but it's got this amazing swim platform, and because the ocean water doesn't move in and out of the gorge too quickly, during the summertime, if you have a few hot days in a row, the ocean water actually gets really warm, and it's a great place to go for a swim. After that, you'll need to find a place that you can just kind of relax. So I'm going to recommend that you go to one of my favorite and lesser known beaches called Arbutus Cove. This is absolutely stunning West Coast nature. You're gonna love it, and it's a place that you could grab lunch and have a picnic, bring your food with you obviously, but plan to spend an hour just walking up and down the beach. It'll give you a chance to relax and reflect a little bit. And then from there, I don't want to give you too much on your last day, so I'm going to recommend that you head up Mount Doug or Mount Tolmie. Both of these are amazing viewpoints. Tolmie is shorter in terms of height, but it's closer to downtown and more accessible. Mount Doug is only open usually for the afternoon, so make sure if you plan to drive to the top that you plan accordingly, but it has spectacular views. And both of these will give you a chance to kind of reflect on all the areas that you visited, maybe point out some of the spots from the top that you've been to, and just enjoy the last day that you have before you head back home. All right, so what would you do if you had 10 days to spend on the island? Well, this part gets a little bit easier because if you have an extra 3 days, I'm going to recommend that you get completely out of the city and head up island. Destination, Tofino. If you haven't been there, I guarantee at some point on your walk on the beach in Tofino, you will have a life-changing moment when you just take in the vast power and beauty of the true West Coast. This is unfiltered. You look west from the beach and there's nothing till you hit Hawaii or Japan. It's open ocean and the power of it is overwhelming. Now, that's your destination, but we're gonna have some fun on the way up. Couple stops I highly recommend. About 2 hours north of Victoria, you'll pass through Nanaimo and Parksville, and I'm going to recommend that you make a stop in the Rathtrevor Provincial Park. The beach there is outstanding, and it's nice to know that something like that is just a couple hours from home. There's great camping, and if you're there at high tide on the afternoon of a hot summer day, the ocean water will heat up on the sand, and it's actually really good swimming as well. Continuing from there, if you have kids, you might spend a little bit more time and check out the playground in Parksville. It is world famous. It's absolutely huge, and I promise your kids will thank you and they'll behave for the rest of the drive because you took care of them up front. Now, continuing from there to Tofino itself, you'll probably still have several hours of driving, and if you want along the way, there's a fun stop at, there's this little market that you can stop in Coombs where they have goats on the roof, and it's just a great little tourist trap. You can't even be mad at them because the whole thing is just so quirky and it really suits the character of the island. Up in Tofino, I'm not going to give you much of an itinerary, but I'm going to recommend you stay at least 2 or 3 nights because really it's a bit of a drive to get there and you want to have at least a day or two to enjoy the sights. Spend your time on the beach. Tofino and Ucluelet are the 2 towns at the north and south end of the beach respectively, and they're great and you can grab some food or provisions or whatever you need, but plan to spend your time on the beach. You'll understand why when you get there. If you have the energy for it and you're feeling adventurous, I highly recommend taking a surf lesson. It's a really fun way to get in the water. They'll make sure you're safe, and it's harder than it looks, and trust me, it looks hard. So get out there and see how you fare. Heading back, if time and energy allows for it, I recommend that you stop in the Cowichan Valley, maybe go to a winery, jump in Cowichan Lake, and just give yourself one more stop to really check off the list during your trip. Here's the deal. If I was doing this Tofino trip, I might throw it in the middle of my 10 days as opposed to going all the way through, working so hard to check out neighborhoods and then tagging it on the end. I think it'll be a nice little reprise, and you can absolutely mix and match. As I'd mentioned before as well, I've got this little handbook I've created along with this video. So as opposed to taking notes, you can use the link in the description to download it, and it's a great jumping off place to get you started. Beyond that, if you have a certain budget in mind for your home or you want to discuss goals, reach out to me and I can help you narrow down the list of neighborhoods to ones that are going to suit you and your priorities. And you can use the link in the description as always to book some time with me. I'm so grateful that you watched this. And again, if this brings you value and you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really helps me get this in front of more people who it'll bring value to, and I just appreciate it. So I'm looking forward to speaking with you if I can help. And for now, I'm going to jump off. Thanks for watching.